Well, I think basically the A national OCGFC, as I've talked about many times, I think that they've transcended the traditional structures in which they initially developed. You know, the nation state model compartmentalized the world into boxes, and within those boxes, they created systems of order and control, and each box had its own economy, had its own power structure. So within the economy of each box, or what you call countries, some rose to the top within those boxes, but those boxes don't have any roofs. And now those who rose to the top of the box kept rising until they're not even in the boxes anymore. You know, and once you get out of the box, once you transcend the walls of the box, well, you see things differently. And the A National OCGFC see things very differently than the nationalistic OCGFC, for example, the military-industrial complex. They see things very differently because they're not as limited as before. See, you and I look at a map and we see countries, we see states, we see borders. We're looking at all of the compartments of the world, the country compartments of the world. The A National OCGFC don't see this. When they look at the world, they see zones of resources. They see natural resources, human resources, and so on. They see opportunity zones. You know, it's like X-ray glasses. They see through the borders and they see through the states and through the governments and what have you, just like looking through walls, you know, looking through the skin and the muscles and seeing the skeleton, seeing the bones. That's what they see. Their vision is on a different light spectrum, you know. It blocks out history, ideology, culture, patriotism, nationalism, religion, and what have you. They don't see any of that. So like when you and I look at a map, we might see that there's 3 or 4 different countries in the region, for example. But the A National OCGFC, they just see one corridor of extractable resources. That's all they see. You know, when they see Congo, they don't see Congo, they see cobalt, for example. You have to understand how they see things so that you can understand and so that you can predict their behavior. You're used to the old system of decision makers being part of and being internal to nation-state power structures. So you think that they make policies based on national interests. But those days are over in the West. There's a power structure now that has outgrown nation-state systems in the West. The leaders in America, the leaders in Europe, don't care about America. They don't care about Europe. If you don't understand that, then their policies won't make any sense to you. And this is what I'm seeing from a lot of political commentators and analysts who can't understand why Europe and why the UK are still insisting on supposedly blind support for Ukraine and for Zelensky, because this is obviously against the national interests of European countries and against the interests of the UK. So they assume that European leaders care about that. They think that they're supposed to care about that because traditionally they did. But these leaders care about what's in the interests of the A National OCGFC, not their nations. And that's been the case throughout the Ukraine conflict. You know, these policies are suicide if you think that the leaders are tied in any way whatsoever to the lives of their people. But if you understand their position correctly, then you'll know that it's not suicide, it's euthanasia. Like I say, if you look at the world the way that they do, in terms of zones of resources, zones of opportunities, and of course there's going to be a layer of that map that will include or will incorporate data about demographics, demographic robustness or depletion, you know, predictable societal factors that either contribute to or detract from stability and feasible prosperity and so on. So if you look at Europe on a map like that, well, it'll be incredibly sparse. There's just not much there. The truth is there never has been much there, which is exactly why they had to go all around the world and rob and loot and pillage, because they don't have much on their own. But now they're not even able to rob and loot and pillage all around the world.